What's something embarrassing you are willing to admit? One time when I was around 5 or 6, I was outside playing with friends and I really needed to pee. I could have gone to my friend's house, but I hated peeing at other people's houses, so I ran home to pee in a toilet I was familiar with. I made it into the bathroom, pulled my pants down with the lights out because I was in such a hurry. Fell into the toilet bowl. My father had left the seat up. I fell into the toilet. In the water. He hadn't flushed. I fell into toilet water and my father's piss. Pretty sure I cry. I was too traumatized to tell anyone. I was enjoying frozen alcoholic drinks at CorkyCon recently, and as I finished my final drink of the day, a nice lady comes to pet my puppy and asks him, "Hey cutie, what's your name?" I stood there wondering why my dog was being so rude and not answering her. Was too shy, I answered for him. Benny, while his name was coming out of my mouth, I realized I had way too much to drink. BC dogs don't talk, and that long awkward silence was simply me being an idiot. I explained as much, and we all had a good laugh, but wow ... Yeah, dogs don't talk. I was getting a routine blood test done a couple years ago. The nurse tech doing the blood draw was pretty cute, so I was trying to act tough even though I hate needles. It went well, until she took the band thingy off my arm. I hadn't eaten that day, so as soon as she took it off I started getting lightheaded. I told her I felt dizzy, and I remember her saying to lean forward. The next thing I remember is being on the floor with 5 people standing over me. I had passed out and pissed myself. Needless to say, I did not ask the cute nurse tech out after that. This isn't that embarrassing. But once when I was in like 2nd grade, I was the last one to leave the class, and when I tried to go out the front door, it didn't open. Pull on it, nothing. Push, still locked. I did this for like half a minute until panic kicked in, and I started thinking that I left so late that they already locked the doors. The logical step was to start running down the hallways while crying and screaming, until a nice teacher came to my aid and pushed down on the door handle to open it ... She looked so confused. I was dating this guy for approximately 10 months, and we were out to eat when I needed to pass gas. Yeah, I sharted. Hardcore. It was instantly smell recognizable. Over a whisper. Can we turn around? I think I hear my thoughts so. But I didn't want to be rude. I then had to walk up a flight of steps. Thank gosh I had on skinny jeans. Or it may have been everywhere. So embarrassing. But hey, we are still together 10 years and 2 kids later. I once peed myself in 1st grade. I had to go to the bathroom at recess, but the teacher wouldn't let me use the bathroom and pretty much blocked me from going inside. I wasn't able to hold it and pissed on myself, not wanting to get in trouble. Now, I tell my stepkids, if you have to piss bad enough, just go. I'll deal with the school and teachers if they try to get you in trouble. I've told the same thing to teachers when we have parent-teacher conferences. So far we haven't had any issues. Back in college during chemistry class, the professor picked me to come up to the whiteboard to answer a question and write the answer. Answer was, and as soon as I got to the front, I suddenly realized I was missing my wallet in my pants pocket, so I ran back to the desk so it wasn't there, and then asked if I could leave to find it. LOL. Never had to answer the question, so I guess I escaped that embarrassment. But I don't think the sudden wallet scare was any better. LOL. I'm embarrassed that I'm like a little kid in needing approval and praise for even little things I do. I'm 63 and have had great careers, but now I'm rather disabled, with 2 new knees, a new hip and both shoulders needing to be replaced. Not happy about that, but now I have a PCA to help me, and when I accomplish something on my own, I need acknowledgement, which is seemingly stupid. I guess I just didn't get it in childhood. Even with my therapist, I can't seem to break this need help. After noticing a deal on cycling equipment in a little leaflet, Lidl is like a cheap supermarket in the UK, a friend and I went on our lunch at work. We walked up and down and couldn't find anything, so we asked, and he didn't know. So she called the manager. He wasn't aware either. Asked if we had the dates right, very adamantly, and admittedly frustrated at this point, I pulled out the leaflet and handed it to him. He looked it over and passed it back. I was an oldie, not little. Last summer, I was in a crowded elevator when my stomach decided to betray me with the loudest growl of hunger imaginable. It echoed in the small space, and every head turned to look at me. I tried to play it cool, glanced at my phone as if I received a funny message, and said, "Haha, guess it's dinner time." But my face was flaming red. I could feel their stares until I finally escaped at my floor. Haven't taken that elevator since without making sure I've eaten first. I was at a McDonald's with my friends and I got a bottle of water and a milkshake. And the milkshake in the right, but for some reason, I thought the opposite and turned the milkshake upside down thinking it was the bottle and let its contents spill all over my chair and the floor. Luckily the employees there were nice and were kind enough to give me another for free. My friends still quote this and laugh about it to this day. This is a story. I was once recorded taking the groceries into the house, and I was vibing, singing out loud and swaying the bags of groceries around. And then I lost balance. La 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 whoa whoa, I fell on my face, and I had a delayed reaction. ... You knew I fell. I quickly got up and hoped no one saw. The next day my stepdad was looking through our security cameras and laughed out loud. Called everyone to come see, and it was me. Roughly 10 or 15 years ago, I had to go to an urgent care center for a pretty nasty sinus infection. While I was in the waiting room, a young woman walks in from the back and calls my first name. Assuming she's the nurse, I start heading towards her. Turns out she was a patient and she was trying to get the attention of the guy she was with, who just happened to have the same name as me. I was absolutely embarrassed and mortified by this. I was hiking on a very remote mountain area. I had been walking for over 6 hours when my bowels decided to get into action. There was absolutely nobody in sight, as one would expect. 2,400 meters above sea level. Lowered my pants and began to push a turd when a group of like 70 people began descending from the opposite direction. I was in mid-action and could not stop. Some greeted, some smiled, some looked away. ... Literally a shitty situation. I have Tourette's. It isn't super bad like you see on documentaries. Most people wouldn't know if they don't spend a lot of time around me. I'm able to suppress for the most part while in public. However, I've had this tic for like the last few years where I tense up my stomach muscles and it makes me pee myself. I literally have to wear diapers 24/7. Luckily my wife is an amazing person and never complained or made me feel bad. Confession time. Anyone else ever accidentally blurt out the wrong name in a super awkward situation? Like during a presentation when you really should have remembered your boss's name? Because let me tell you, calling your boss mom in front of the entire marketing team is a social faux pas of epic proportions. Still recovering from that silence. What's your funniest name mix-up story? I have a couple. I sharted on my newly bought IKEA chair a couple years back and my family has no idea. I was on laxatives at the time and needed to pass wind, but something else made a surprise appearance when he poo. Luckily I stopped it in its tracks and proceeded to the loo. But man, it left one stinky 55 brown stain which I had to vigorously wipe off. It all came off, but any time someone sits there, it takes me back. A young lady invited me to get coffee with her. Told me I could be a model. Told me about her favorite sex positions. And later invited me to visit her at her job at a strip club. About 6 years later, I realized that she was hitting on me. I've had at least 2 other dates and offers to date that I didn't realize were offers at the time. I now realize that I'm aromantic, asexual and not always the most perceptive. I audibly shit myself in a boardroom meeting once. There were about 7 or 8 other people in the room and it happened while my boss was speaking. He stopped talking and there were some gasps. I didn't know what to do other than profusely apologize and go home. Next day I apologized to my boss and told him I'd been ill. I still work at the same company and it hurts every day. This was 2 years ago. The first time I ever spoke in public was a debate competition when I was 13. I pissed myself in front of teachers, peers, opponents, other schools, judges, and any other descriptor for a person in that 200-person audience. I was embarrassed but decided that nothing more embarrassing would likely happen if I spoke in public again, and now I have no fear of public speaking. I couldn't finish my degree because I'm a shitty student. I kept on failing courses. I'd start off strong, lose interest after a month, coast for a while, last-minute cramming for the mid-semester, then repeat for the rest of the semester. I did well at school. In the self-supported environment of university, I just didn't have the motivation needed. My parents, who live next to a lake. I once woke up one morning and, while dressed in nothing but underwear, opened up the blinds on my window and saw two guys fishing in the lake outside my window. Closed the blinds as fast as I could. Fun fact, I posted this story on another subreddit and everyone there thought I was a girl. I'm pretty sure my husband just tolerates me because we have kids together. He's cheated on me more than once and is constantly back and forth between wanting to be with me or not. He says he's not in love with me and never will be again. Yeah, I don't go anywhere. Here I am holding on to hope that one day maybe he will actually love me like a partner.